Hey everyone, it's Jake, and today we are going to be doing another review video, and this time around we are going to be reviewing Mavka, which is an upcoming Awakening units for the global server. She should be available to pull out after the maintenance today, along with some half anniversary events and such, so there's tons of things to look out for after the maintenance today. But mainly in this video, I'm going to be talking about Mavka only. We'll talk about other anniversary as well as other Awakening units for the tier list and stuff in the other video. But anyways, let's jump into the video and talk about Mavka. So, let's go over Mavka's kits and help you understand what makes Mavka the best DPS units in the game currently, even in the Korean server. It is her passive skill basically allows her to reach that DPS level. Basically, she will be continuing to attack with her basic attack, which will enhance her throughout her passive skill. And passive skill has 3 different levels, and each levels will give her nice benefits and help her able to maintain the damage. And also her passive skill gives 160% anti-defender damage, so against a defender, both in PvP and PvE, she will be the top choice to melt down those defender units. And trust me, the 160% anti-defender damage is just crazy. She melts defender like no one else can. Her special skill also will not interrupt her from keep attacking with her basic attacks, so Sobin was a little bit different. Whenever she used her special skill, she will have to cancel out from attacking her basic attacks, where Mavka's special skill won't interrupt that, so her basic attack is maintained and keep on attacking. Her ultimate skill will do large amount of AoE damage and also give her Surefire mode buff as well as attack speed buff, and help her able to maintain level 3 passive stacks long as she has a Surefire buff, so you don't have to worry about having to build up the stacks after using ultimate skill. So basically, long as boss is within her range and she won't move around and keep attacking the boss, she will never lose her passive stacks and continue to do insane amount of damage until boss is dead. And that's what makes her the top DPS units in the game currently. So next, let's talk about gear option for Mavka. Of course, just like many other ranged DPS units in this game, she will benefit the most from relic attack speed gears with the range damage latent power. So keep farming those Britra gears until you get more of this range damage latent power gears, because those gears are going to be only getting better in the future in my opinions as more range damage units comes out. I just need a bazillion of these gears because everyone seems to be using this gear these days. So anyways, this gear is one of the best choice. So keep farming these gears and try to get the attack speed on it, and you should be good. Another option, of course, will be relic speed gears, which time to time I use it if I need some multi-hits time to time to stack up her passive skill faster. But usually I think most of the situation you will find yourself using Breacher relics, because attack speed is more than enough in a lot of PvE situations, so you don't really have to worry about those in my opinion. So more damage from the range damage is better than more attack speed. But if you don't really have a range damage gears, attack speed parts will be very good substitute for that. And finally, last one is the defense penetration sets. This set is always the best one if you're fighting the toughest enemy in this game when it comes to PVE contents, because they have such a high defense and such. So this is the set that you want to go for if you want to one-shot, let's say, co-op bosses pretty easily. So those are the 3 gears that you definitely want to focus on throughout PVE contents. When it comes to PvP, I think you can still use the previous gears I mentioned, but I think Mei's cooldown set is probably the most sin gears on her from my experience a lot of times, because this allows her to spam her ultimate skill faster, and that does make some difference, as well as the ultimate skill will buff her, give her attack speed as well as a Surefire buff and such thing. So I think Mei's cooldown set is a very reliable option to be used as well on Mavka during PvP. So let's go over Mavka in PvE content. Simply to put it, she is the best DPS unit currently against the many different bosses that exist in this game. One good example would be all the danger close defender bosses that was extreme so far has been Mavka's place to shine, and she just does tons of damage. Usually they have a lot of multi-hit patterns, so Mavka will be the one who can easily bypass through that, and she also able to do a lot of damage because they're a defender and she has 160% damage boost against defender units, so she is absolutely monster. Against the bosses that does not have any type, just like raid bosses as well as co-op bosses, Mavka is no exception there. She will rack up the most amount of damage easily as she runs her damage down on your enemies, and she just does it really well. And sometimes bosses have multi-hit patterns, no worries, Mavka will go through this and melt those enemies pretty easily. Another instance that I can say is really good is also the Last Stand. There's many situations where you need a stability DPS. Mavka was the one who performed the most, and she just does a good damage. I mean, Jacko I think is another stability DPS right now that's really good, but usually you use both or use one of them, and the Mavka for 6 costs, I think she definitely worthwhile in my opinions. So overall, I would definitely say my experience with Mavka throughout PvE Contents has been a blast, and I don't know if that will change anytime soon unless they come out with a better DPS units that's a ranger class, because I feel like if they come out with another units that's good as Mavka in a lot of different situations, I would just use them together most of the instance instead of trying to only use one. Mavka in PvP is totally different story compared to PvE because there is just so many situations where her weakness really shows up. First weakness she has is definitely her fragile body. She cannot really tank hits from enemies' attack, and tons of strikers right now that exist in this game will able to do her tons of damage. Like Awaken Horizon will just one-shot her pretty easily. There's always Awaken Jushin after the reactor, that's a huge counter attack that will take away chunk of her HP. If not unlucky, she will get one-shotted, so that's another really dangerous character. There's also tons of sniper units, has a really great range and a damage, and Mavka get caught up to that pretty well because she doesn't have a range like them. That's another disadvantage. There's also ranger units like Luzadia with the reactor. She will be just able to one-shot the Mavka pretty easily as long as she gets in the range. There's also Awaken Yusuyon that will be hard counter against Mavka. There's also Thunderbolt who's able to melt her pretty easily, and I say that Thunderbolt because she cannot attack the aerial units. That's one other downside of her in PvP, I would say. So Thunderbolt for the 4 costs would easily rip her apart. So just tons of different things to go wrong by using her in PvP, even though she just does a tons of damage against defender. So if the enemies are just running defenders mindlessly and you drop Mavka, and Mavka will just melt down the defender pretty easily, and you'll be like, damn, Mavka is good. But that situation doesn't really come by. As you get to higher competitions, it's going to be harder and harder to use a Mavka, and you will see what I mean after trying to use her throughout PvP. Of course, there was a week that's comes to Miracle area where she was really being top of the meta, but that's just a few instances. I would definitely say she is not really that great in PvP right now, and I don't think it will change that much, because if they make her really good in PvP by giving a bit more survivability and such, then yeah, I think that will become a problem. So I think it's best to keep her as what it is right now for PvP contents and just let her ride along throughout many different PvE areas. Of course, they could probably always give her reactor. I think they can definitely give her debuff immunity. That's one of the biggest part right now that makes her lose DPS potential, because like Gramarye right now is just insane. She will be deployed in front of Mavka, and Mavka will just stop attacking every few seconds, and her DPS potential just drops down to 0 pretty much. So you don't want that, and I think it's best to give some types of debuff immunity to start off with. I think that could be a good starting point. But long story short, I think you shouldn't stress yourself out trying to use a Mavka, because generally it's not going to work. But in PvE sections, she is amazing. So I'm pulling her out to have an easy time in PvE, and she's also pretty cute and funny, if I'm allowed to say that. But yeah, thanks for watching guys, it's Jake. We'll see you guys next time with more videos. Take care.